Hi folks, Paula MacLean again, and welcome back to the Thursday video blog post. We're in a series. This is the third one around managing to move us from crazy busy to good busy in our workplaces. And again, some of the strategies we're talking about are probably pretty good for your life in general. Today we're going to talk about eat the frog. Last week we talked about monkeys. Today we're going to talk about frogs. Now I'll tell you in a second what I mean by frogs, but most of us use some form of a to-do list, whether you use that electronically, whether it's in your head, whether or not you have an old-fashioned, paper and pen version of your to-do list. And often we rewrite our to-do list several times a week. Some of you are pretty disciplined. You probably do your to-do list every single day. And we often start our day with thinking, okay, here are the things that I need to do and that are priorities. Now, one of the reasons that to-do lists work for us is that they really help us line up our intentions for how our day goes. And we do know that what we intend has an enormous impact on what we accomplish. So to-do lists are not just a thing that we should do. They're actually a fairly important strategy that says, these line up my intentions for my day. Now, often our to-do list, at least my to-do list, contains two types of items. One is the things that I really know that are priorities, and often those things come to the top of the list. And if I start scanning down my to-do list, I realize that some of the things that are at the bottom, I've seen them before. Right? They're the things that I'm carrying over from day to day, sometimes week to week, or even month to month. And I don't want to lose track of them. I don't want to forget them. So I keep repeating them, but they are not getting done. And I call those the to avoid things on my to-do list. So very often our to-do list has two kinds of categories of items on it. The things that we know we have to do that are priorities, and the things that we're kind of avoiding. Now, sometimes we call that procrastination. Now, I call these to avoid items on the list frogs. And the reason I call them frogs is because they keep hopping from one day's to-do list to my next day, to my next day, and to my next day. And I never seem to manage to get those darn frogs taken care of. Now, the other interesting thing about to-do lists is that we use them as a time management tool, and yet if you glance at your to-do list at the end of a day, or maybe 2 or 3 days, if you have one that you don't do every day, and you look at the things on your list and look at the things that you got done, but also think about how many other things that were not even on the list that you managed to accomplish. And here's a cool little strategy. If you want to feel really good about it, take your to-do list from the day or the week, and then add to it all the things that you can remember that you actually managed to do, and then cross them off and put a check mark by them. Because that was what your day really looked like. That was what your week really looked like. It wasn't just the things that you intended to do, but all of the other things that maybe should have been on your list, or that you didn't even know that they were coming at you, and that in fact you got done. So really good way of kind of chronicling the things that we are doing, but all those things that we didn't anticipate that we actually got done in the same day. Now, it gives us a real sense of accomplishment to cross things off and put check marks things. Now, so it's pretty amazing how much we actually end up getting down. So let me go back to our frogs. What do we do with the darn frogs that are on our list? And these kind of are things that eternally hang on to us. Very often they're frogs for a couple of reasons. It could be because they are not urgent at all. Urgent means that you have to get them done soon. So they're not time sensitive. They can get done anytime. It's kind of like, your laundry has to get done once every week or two because that becomes urgent. But when's the last time that you cleaned the windows in your house? Well, that's something we probably is not urgent and could be done anytime. Whereas if you don't do your laundry, chances are you're going to be running out of your clothes in a week or two. So what we're talking about then is frogs become frogs because of lack of urgency. And secondly, sometimes they're frogs because we don't like doing what that is. We don't really want to do what that is. Maybe it's not even our task. Maybe it should be done by somebody else. Or maybe we don't know how to do those things, so we need to engage someone else in order to be able to help us do those things. Now, I used the word procrastination a minute ago, and the whole issue of procrastination is, of course, we call ourselves then procrastinators because we don't do the things, those frogs. They keep hopping from list to list, and so we are procrastinating. But I don't like, aside from the word that procrastination has a really negative connotation to it, I don't like calling things like that, because it almost legitimizes them. And it's like the word, I hate the phrase road rage, because it legitimizes this as being something that is real, and it's not. It's just bad behavior. So procrastination then says, well, I'm a procrastinator. So we feel stuck. We feel maybe that this is something that we will never get done or that we'll continue to avoid forever. So what I want you to do is for the next couple of weeks, practice a new strategy. To help you get from crazy busy to good busy, I'd like you to eat your frogs, which means I want you to pick one frog on your to-do list that's been hopping from thing to thing. I want you to give it a priority each day. Some frogs can be dealt with in a couple of hours. Some of them will have, multiple days worth of effort that are involved. And so whatever your frog is that you pick, I want you to take the beginning of each of your working day whenever you start work, and I want you to allocate a reasonable amount of time. Small frog, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. If it's a bigger frog, a half an hour to an hour. And if you've got something like a meeting first thing in your day and you can't spend time on your frog, come in a few minutes earlier, right? So that you have an opportunity to be able to manage that frog and eat the frog so that it doesn't keep hopping from list to list to list. So let me just use an example. Let's suppose your workspace is a mess, and let's suppose it's a multi-day project. You'll never get it cleaned up, and let's say that you hate doing that kind of task. So it's just a real simple example. So 10 minutes tomorrow morning. Make 10 minutes your priority. Come in 10 minutes early if you need to, if there's something else pressing that will start your day, and spend 10 minutes straightening things in your workplace, filing the stuff that needs to be filed, getting rid of the garbage, shredding the paper that you no longer need, straightening, cleaning, doing whatever you need, and do that for as many 10 minutes at the beginning of the day as you need to be able to eat the frog. So that's your assignment for the next couple of weeks, is to get through the frogs that are on your list. So I'm Paula MacLean. I am your leadership coach, and I hope that you've enjoyed these series of videos. We've got one more in the Crazy Busy to Good Busy series. And if you have not signed up for the 3 free videos, please go to 3freevideos.learningforleaders.ca and sign up. There's 90 minutes of training. It's absolutely awesome training. It's completely free, and it's available to anyone who's a supervisor and a manager working in the human services sector. And if you've finished all of the free videos, please go to my website, learningforleaders.ca, and take a look at the information about the Mastering the Basics course. It's an 8-video course. It's absolutely awesome training for nonprofit human services supervisors and managers. Until the next Thursday blog, I'm Paula MacLean, and I'm your leadership coach.